I want to show you guys this video. I need to set up the sound. There we go. And this is a video that was shared by my friend Gabrielle Clark. And it is a heartbreaking video. It's about 4 minutes long. And I just want to make sure as many people as possible see it. And I'm going to put Gabs's tweet into the chat. If you are on Twitter, please share this video because I think it's really important. So Gab says, this is Prisha Mosley. She's traveling around the country giving her testimony to governing bodies about detransitioning. She'll be traveling again on Sunday, so yesterday. She asks for protection and grace. Please bless her with safe travels. Let's listen to Prisha's testimony.
Hi. Oh. Hello? Oh. My name is Prisha Mosley. I am a detransitioning woman who began my social transition at 15 years old. I legally changed my name, changed my hair and clothes, and bound my breasts. Breast binding caused permanent damage to my back and ribs. I was love bombed by the trans community who found me through the pro-anorexia community. They encouraged me for every change I made and promised me that I was curing myself. I was told that my depression, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, and borderline would all go away if I transitioned, but it wasn't true. We know that trans people, and have heard other people on the other side say that there are multiple, often other comorbidities, and these are usually pushed aside when the child utters the word gender. Changing the body is not the cure for the mind or mental suffering. We have already tried this and failed with lobotomies. Starting at 17, high doses of testosterone were injected into my anorexic body. The side effects were severe, are permanent, and started within days. One of the first things to change was my genitals. Before a week was over, they were painful. Parts were growing and others were beginning to atrophy away and have not stopped. This pain increased for months and now is so severe that I can no longer use tampons. I have never gotten to experience a normal period. Before starting testosterone, it had already stopped because I was not eating. I was put on hormones anyway. The damage from the testosterone is permanent, however, and I will not heal from it like I healed from my eating disorder. I am also suffering from chronic pain. Wrong sex testosterone causes the redistribution of muscle and fat into a masculine position which the female frame cannot support. My hips are so small and my shoulders are so large that I am in constant burning pain. It hurts to hold myself up. Testosterone also caused me to have joint pain, which I will suffer from for the rest of my life. On top of this, I lost my ability to sing. Gender-affirming care took my voice away. I used to get so much joy from singing, and that has been robbed from me. Now I can no longer bear the sound I make when I open my mouth to sing or when I cry, and it is painful to even speak for long periods. I cannot raise my voice to scream if I'm in danger. Testosterone silenced me. Worst of all, I am most likely infertile. No doctor will touch me. They have all abandoned me since I began to detransition, but I am aware of this fact. I did not want to have children when I was given informed consent shortly after being raped. I was too traumatized and not old enough to know, but my doctors didn't care. My doctors and therapist blackmailed my parents into fast-tracking me down the path to lifelong medicalization. 1 year after starting hormones, my healthy breasts were removed. The surgery was incredibly traumatizing. During this procedure, which is performed on minors, all of the healthy mammary tissue is removed, as well as fat and skin. While this is happening, the nipples are cut up, reshaped, and frozen. The chest is then scraped and the new nipples are sewn onto the bleeding wound. One day after my surgery, I removed my bandages to find pieces of my nipples looking back at me, stuck to the bandages. I'm missing pieces of them now. Breast reconstruction will consist of at least 3 more traumatizing surgeries and will not give me back what I lost. My breasts have been incinerated and I will never be able to feed my children. I urge you to vote for a bill that protects children from so-called gender-affirming care. I want to be the last person to suffer this way. Please don't let any other vulnerable, mentally ill children become a lifelong medical patient like me. Let them keep their healthy bodies. Thank you.
I had to show that to you guys, and I know that was hard to listen to, and I know that, this is why we don't make fun of kids who've been indoctrinated into this ideology. Because when you make fun of kids that started even if they're adults now, you make it more difficult for them if they do wanna transition to speak out or to go back. And I think that it's important that we do hear from as many people as possible about the impacts of this ideology. It doesn't make it easier for these kids, and I really do think that a lot of them end up getting emotionally stunted at the point where they started on, like, puberty blockers, or at least in their teens, I really do. Can you imagine how hard that was? Can you imagine giving that speech in public to your city council? Now imagine that you have a whole room of people that are against you because of something that was forced on you as a child when you didn't know better. The part of that speech that really kind of like hit me the most, and there were so many parts of it that were just devastating, was that doctors won't help her. Doctors won't help her because she's detransitioning. Doctors pressured her parents into pushing her towards medicalization. And I have heard so many stories about doctors basically telling parents that if you don't allow your kids to get this surgery now, then they're going to commit suicide. They're emotionally blackmailing these parents. I mean, if you were a parent and you were like involved in this stuff, you probably want to do what's best for your kid. And the doctors, the medical doctors are telling you it's either transition surgery as a minor or your kid might commit suicide. And it's not even the doctors, it's the schools too. Absolutely. My heart goes out to her. My heart goes out to all of the kids that have been in like indoctrinated into this ideology. Thank you for the super chat, might be Batman. I appreciate it. But this is why I think it's important to go after the ideology and not the victims of the ideology, even if they're adults. This is why I think it's important to have a nuanced perspective of this, to know that these kids are being pushed into this when they're young. It is not their fault. It is the fault of their teachers. It is the fault of the doctors. It is the fault of the therapists. It is the fault of the school administrators. It is the fault of the adults in the room that are supposed to be the adults. And then if the parents are continuing to push the kids towards this, yeah, I'm sorry, it's the fault of the parents too. And I can give parents a little bit of leeway because a lot of parents don't know. But at some point, you would have thought that they would question whether or not cutting off healthy body parts was going to be a good long-term benefit. So I just wanted to make sure everyone saw that video, and please share it. Again, I will put the link in the chat one more time. Um please share the video. If you're not on Twitter, then I'm sure this video exists other places. And please share these stories when you find them. And again, I feel a little bit like I haven't done a good enough job covering the detransitioner stuff. And the reason that I haven't been doing it is because, to be quite frank, this is really difficult for me to watch. and it should be difficult for everyone to watch, but I also don't appreciate the vitriol that I get when I refuse to demonize these kids, and I do get vitriol. I get angry emails, I get angry messages from people on the right that desperately want me to demonize these kids, but I think that these kids are victims of this ideology and I refuse to do it. And so, if we want real change, we have to start treating each other as human beings and demanding that people have a certain perspective on these things. I don't think it's helpful to actually solving the problem. So I wanted to make sure everyone saw that. And now we are going to move on to other topics.